right. So what have you guys been up to since the last podcast?
It's a great question. Oh, here I go with the questions again.
It's always a great question from Damon. His first question. You know that, Mike?
I never have bad questions.
He does not. It's awesome. What have I been up to? I had a great interview. I was actually on a podcast. I was the guest, which is kind of weird because usually I'm the host, right? One of the hosts. But got to do a virtual podcast with John Chen. John, I met at a training magazine conference last year. He wrote the book, Virtual Meetings, how to make your meetings more engaging.
Yeah, we met him down there in Florida. Yeah, do you have that book?
I have that book. Look at this. You got the book?
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
I've got the book. You got the book, George?
I got a rock. I was not invited to that party. I don't know what's going on.
Now you're missing out. It is a great, great book.
But I did do a podcast. If you searched engaging virtual meetings, you can probably see a recorded episode of the podcast I attended, which was neat. He's one of my mentors, showing me the tricks of the trade, how to engage people virtually through Zoom and Teams and all that good stuff.
All right.
Also, I did a training session there last week in the AOC studios, SIP Studios 1212. Did the first virtual ABS 1.0 class for myself. I know, Damon, you've been training that, but this is my first go around for a virtual sessions ABS, and that's one of my favorite classes, really.
All right. So what have you been up to, George?
Well, I attended Mike's ABS 1 class and a couple of more, and kind of played analyst, gave a little bit of feedback on these. These were a couple of new classes, so a little bit of that, did a little bit of comm work, solved a couple of problems on the comm side, and get ready for my own little roadshow coming up here next week. So a little bit of preparation and a little bit of help.
Where are you going?
I am going to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga. I did a class there too. I did basic electrical, basic refrigeration. So great group of guys in Chattanooga. And I know they follow the podcast. So thank you for listening.
Awesome. So they'll be happy to see me or just happy to see you go. Which is it?
A little bit of both, I think.
Yes.
So Damon, what have you been up to?
Pretty similar to what George has been doing. I've been monitoring other virtual classes, giving a little bit of feedback on those. Also been preparing for our Tech Tip web series classes to come on back. And I've been working on my customer relations class, enhancing that by bringing back some of the old videos. So if anybody's ever had one of the old customer relations serve lateral listening classes, we used to have videos with that. Well, we did find those videos and we're going to add them back into the class. So trying to enhance that. Now, you didn't talk about one thing that you guys did since this last podcast. And since the last podcast, you guys actually went to the World of Coke.
Oh, yes. Anytime we're in the Atlanta area, at least I go to World of Coke. I think George does too.
Yeah, I think I have a rewards card from World of Coke because I am a frequent visitor.
You're a frequent member.
Yes, I am. I'm probably on their number or all-time top 10 customer list in their gift shop. So.
All right. Yeah, so thinking about the World of Coke, that's actually the heading for our podcast today, is just talking about the World of Coke. A lot of people don't know exactly what it is, what it offers, maybe where it is. So we were just going to go ahead and discuss that as a podcast today of what is the World of Coke.
Great question, Damon.
Like always.
The World of Coke, a couple of different locations. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but it's basically a museum. Coca-Cola memorabilia, lots of rich history. I mean, our company has so much history in it. And when you go to the World of Coke, you get to travel through that history and learn a whole lot of stuff about Coca-Cola. So where are they? The one we went to, it was in Atlanta. So it is just up the street from the mothership or headquarters, and right in downtown Atlanta, across from Olympic Centennial Park.
Yeah, it's also right there next to the Georgia Aquarium, which you could use that parking lot as well, and then just walk right on over.
That's right. And a fun fact about the aquarium there, Coca-Cola, they purchased 20 acres back in, what was it? Back in my day. I think it was 2002, I believe. But when they purchased that, they did donate part of that land to the aquarium. I think they sold it for $1, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, the World of Coke is open 7 days a week, and I'm going to give you some times really quick, but they may change. So you always want to go ahead and double check. But as of today, the way that it operates, Monday and Tuesday, they're open 10 to 5. All other days, they're open 10 to 6. And that is the Atlanta World of Coke, the main location. But like George said, there are 2 other locations. They're not really the World of Coke, but they're Coca-Cola stores, and they have a lot of Coke gifts and clothing and memorabilia and things like that to purchase and view. And first one is going to be George's favorite location. Well, and one of Mike's favorite locations as well, and that is in Las Vegas. So, George, you want to tell us a little bit about the Las Vegas location?
You know, it's really funny that you mentioned Las Vegas because I am going to Las Vegas in like the next 2 weeks, which I will visit the World of Coke.
I was going to say you're always visiting Las Vegas.
Yes, it is on the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah, if anybody wants the address, it's at 3785 South Las Vegas Boulevard, the Strip, across the street from New York, New York. It's very cool.
Notice how George had that memorized?
Yes.
He knows exactly where that's located.
That's right. That's right. I know everything about Las Vegas. Where else is there?
Well, we have another one in Orlando, the Coca-Cola store there in Disney Springs. I could give you the address of that one too, at 1512 East Buena Vista Drive, and it's directly across from the Planet Hollywood. And this one is really cool. It's got 3 stories, lots of clothing and memorabilia for sale. But up on the top floor, you're looking at like a little tiny snack restaurant and drinks. And it's got a nice balcony to look over Disney Springs. It's a really cool location.
You know, Damon, there's a theme here. I have a problem with Las Vegas. You have a problem with Disney.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so World of Coke in Atlanta. So nice museum, and anytime I go there, it moves me. It makes me proud to work for Coca-Cola, and I just love the rich history that they show there at the museum. But the one in Atlanta, the new, well, it's not so new anymore, but 2007 when they had the grand opening of the new World of Coke. Now, prior in the underground, I believe, is that what it is? The underground.
It's underground
section?
Atlanta.
Underground Atlanta, just a neighborhood there in Atlanta next to the state capitol, I believe. They had the original World of Coke, and that was in 1990. I believe that was opened up, but they moved. So now it's located in the Centennial Olympic Park area of Atlanta. And again, that opened up in 2007, and they constantly do changes to the building there inside, add new exhibits. And what are some of those exhibits?
Yeah, to start with, you're going to start off with a tour. Now, you don't have to take the tour. You can go without purchasing a ticket for the tour and go straight on in and go to the store if that's all you wanted to do. But you're going to miss out on a huge amount of history and information and just fun as you go on through the World of Coke. So we'd recommend that you go ahead and you get the tour. Now, with the tour, you're going to want to go ahead and purchase your tickets in advance. And one little key that we're going to let everybody know is that if you let people know that you are a Coke employee, there are discounts for purchases of clothing or any other gift item that you might purchase there, but also a discount on the tickets. Yeah, so when you go ahead and purchase the tickets, employees of Coca-Cola are free, and then you can get discounts for your relatives. So look into that when you make your purchases for the tour, but you definitely don't want to miss out on the tour. So what are the things that you're going to see on this tour, George? Because you guys have just went through this and you have done this thousands of times.
Thousands of times, Damon. I've been in there thousands of times.
According to the records, yes, they've got your picture up on the wall.
They're giving you access to way too many records, buddy. That's all I got to tell you. Yeah, well, the first thing you do is you go in and you kind of hang out in this little lobby area and wait for your tour to start. And as you're waiting, you hang out with all kinds of really cool Coca-Cola fans that are all excited about waiting to go into the first exhibit, which is basically an auditorium. And you'll go into the auditorium, and as you walk in, you'll see all kinds of things in that room that is just memorabilia about advertising. There's early soda machines in there. There is everything that's got to do with Coca-Cola and its history. And you'll hang out and listen to a tour guide for a few minutes, and they'll tell you some facts of Coca-Cola. Right, Mike?
Yeah, I call that the reception area. That's how I call it. But yeah, you're greeted by your host or hostess, and they will give you a quick rundown of the history of the items in that room. One of them is the original fountain unit by John Pemberton. But you see the first ever fountain. It's a ceramic jar-looking thing, but it's really cool. That's the oldest thing in that room.
Yeah. And they ask you quiz questions. So just remember that Mike just gave away the answer to that quiz question. So you'll be able to look like a pro when you walk on in.
There you go. Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for you, but there's so many items in there. And I think, what's that character's name there, George, that you like?
Wendy.
Wendy's there as well.
Yes, Wendy. I love Wendy.
There you go. So after that reception area, they were then led into a theater where you get to watch. It's like a 7-8 minute film, and it's so moving. It's about real life situations, real life people. They're not actors. They're sharing that moment of happiness with you, and they're also sharing a Coke as well.
Yeah, from that point, you're going to move on. You're going to be able to look at all kinds of Coke memorabilia and history as you walk on through the rest of this, which, like we said, is basically a museum of Coca-Cola. But one of the things that I really enjoyed when we went through there was the vault. I thought that was like really, really cool. So you're getting to see the top secret vault that holds the Coca-Cola recipe. And there's a little guarantee that you're not going to get close to that vault, isn't there, George?
Yes. If you get anywhere near that vault, it will make a loud buzz, and your tour guide or the person taking care of that exhibit will ask you to move back. Actually, the voice will come out and say, "Step away," I believe.
Yeah. George has heard it a few times.
Yes. I think it gave me my 9th heart attack the last time I was there.
So yes, in 2011, actually December 8th, 2011, they moved the secret formula and they placed it in that vault. So it's really cool. You're that close to history, even though it's secured. And there's alarms. I was amazed by the keypad. They have to use, whoever can access that uses their handprint and a combination code, I believe, to get into that big vault. But yeah, don't cross the line. The alarms will go off and the lights will probably blink at you. So
yeah, that recipe used to be kept at SunTrust Bank in Atlanta in their vault until they moved it over and to make an exhibit at the World of Coke. It's super cool. Mike and I took some pictures, so we'll post some of the vault.
All right. So other things that you have, like we said, you're going to be walking through, just doing a tour of history of Coca-Cola. So a couple of things that you're going to see as you're going on through this could be like the origin of Coca-Cola. How did Coke start? And you're going to learn all about that while you're going through this tour. So things you're going to learn is how did Coca-Cola start? Where was that starting point? Who was involved? Like Mike said, John Pemberton creating the recipe, and then from there, all the sales that have taken place of trading hands from one company to the next company, and then how Coca-Cola grew to be what it is today. So all of that information you're going to see, you're going to hear. It's just really, really great historical information on our company.
Yes, you will have a fantastic day when you go there, right, Mike?
And Sprite-tacular day as well.
Sprite-tacular, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, other things you're going to experience as you're going on through our Hall of History there is just some historical commercials. They've got a commercial that really you're going to recognize as soon as you see and hear it, and that is the "I'd like to buy the world a Coke." And if you guys remember that song and remember that commercial as they brought that out, that's something that they're going to talk about throughout that history as you're walking on through the world of Coke.
Yeah,
and then Mike loves to go ahead, George.
Oh, that was the Hilltop commercial.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. The Hilltop commercial.
Yeah, that came out, 1970, somewhere around there. I was only like 45 years old at that point.
Sounds about right.
I was going to ask how old you were at that point.
Yes.
They also go into the origin of the contour bottle. So back when Coke was invented, they had a bunch of copycats out there, and it was hard to know if you're getting an actual Coke or somebody's off-brand. So they did put a contest out there to see who can design a bottle that makes it distinctive, that this is a Coca-Cola. And so they had this contest, and who won the contest there, Damon?
Oh, that was a company called Roots Glass Company in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Terre Haute. I've been to Terre Haute.
Yeah, do a call out there to Terre Haute.
Call it the Terre Haute. I have a Terre Haute story while traveling. We travel a lot for training, and I will never forget that story. But so I check in the hotel there at Terre Haute, and I keep hearing these big booms going on, and I'm like, that's weird. So later on, I find out they have a crow problem in the wintertime. I don't know if it still exists today, but back then it did, where at night, all the crows, the birds, would fly into the city to keep warm at night. And every morning they would flock and fly away, whatever you call it. And so these booms I'm hearing are part of the crow patrol, which was odd, but they have these volunteers who go around and they light off fireworks to try to scare the birds out of the city because it's just a nuisance. So later on that night, I'm walking next door to the restaurant, and this pickup truck is driving down the street and slows down by me, and I'm kind of worried now. I'm like, what's going on here? The guy rolls down his window, and he shoots a bottle rocket like right over my head into a tree, and the birds take off, and I'm like, whoa, that's a little close. I was like, I know I'm tall like Big Bird, but
yeah, don't shoot me.
But it's just funny. The birds just fly to another tree, but they do this all night. I just think if I lived there, I kind of like fireworks. I mean, that'd be a cool volunteer job that you get to light fireworks while you're driving your car. Anyways, there's another famous bird known in Terre Haute, known probably worldwide. But if you remember Larry Bird, he graduated from Indiana State University, which is right there in Terre Haute. So some fun facts for me anyways.
To say you got more history on Terre Haute than you do the world of Coke.
That's right.
He's a wealth of information on Terre Haute. But yeah, Terre Haute, actually, the Roots Glass Company had won the contest of creating our iconic contour bottle design. So that's where that bottle started from. And like Mike said, it was designed so that Coke would have something completely different than any other company. And you knew you were buying a Coke when you bought you bought your fountain drink in a contour bottle.
That's right.
All right. And as you continue on through, there's going to be over 125 years worth of Coca-Cola history, pictures, memorabilia, videos, all kinds of information that you're going to see as you do this tour. So the tour is absolutely worth taking. So when you go on down and visit the World of Coke, make sure you guys register early, get your tickets, and take the tour. It is definitely worth the time.
Yeah, you're going to find out all kinds of interesting things like how much Coca-Cola was sold for when it first came out. Does anybody know what Coca-Cola's birthday is? When it is? It is May 8th, 1886. So
How
Coca-Cola.
old were you then, George?
In 1886, I was 17,
Sweet.
just in time to go down to Jacob's Pharmacy and get a Coke because it was new. And I helped.
You helped. There you go.
Yeah,
Were you a soda jerk?
I still am. From what a lot of people tell me, I still am, Damon.
All right. Now, other things that you're going to see as you go on down to the World of Coke is all the different interactions that they have. So there's all kinds of things that you can do while you're there. Mike, you want to talk about the scent room, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, Scent Discovery. And they just recently updated it as well, but you can smell some of the ingredients that go into our formulas for different drinks. Like you'll smell lemon, lime, cinnamon, all kinds of different scents. So, our chemists take all them flavors, flavor profiles, put them together, and they come up with our beverages.
Yeah, remember the design is that basically you would smell something and then you'd have to move something to see exactly what it was that you were smelling, and it would show it to you on a tag. So everybody's trying to guess what that scent is. And yeah, it's amazing how far off you can be, because I remember we're walking on through and smelling it, and everybody's coming up with ideas of what it was. And in some cases, we weren't even close.
Right.
So it's interesting the way your scent of smell works. And then the whole idea of the scent of the smell also enhances the scent, or enhances the taste and flavor of your drink. So very interesting the way that room works and shows you how everything's put together.
Next to that room, they have a pulp culture gallery. So a lot of arts of work with Coca-Cola involved. And they have the famous couch there too, George, right?
The one that you were sleeping on?
I did take a picture of me resting, not sleeping.
Oh, he was sleeping. He was
On the
snoring and
couch
everything.
there. But yeah,
Was that the American Idol couch?
That's it. The American Idol couch.
Yeah.
The original couch is there on exhibit.
Could somebody further than an idol, how can anybody further from an idol than Mike be sitting on the American Idol couch? I don't get it. Now, you're my idol, Mike. I'm
somebody's idol. I think I'm Mary's idol, by the way.
Yes.
That's my mom.
Yes. At least Mary loves you.
There we go.
Maybe.
There's also a 4D theater located in the World of Coke.
Yeah, and the seats move, and it's pretty cool.
Seats move, and they give you these nice 3D Coca-Cola glasses.
Yes, they are you.
There you go.
I guess the fourth dimensions you move in that chair, but they go over. They had a scientist guy in there and his assistant, and they traveled around the world trying to find the secret to Coca-Cola and the formula. So it's a really cool little movie. You have to go check out.
Yeah, because I'm not going to tell you the secret.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth finding out. I mean, the theater, the 4D action that's going on in that theater is really cool. I think my favorite interaction while we're there is the Coca-Cola polar bear, because you'll find the Coca-Cola polar bear hanging out, and you can go and get your picture taken with the bear. And very, very interactive costume that the bear is in. And it's not just, your old traditional costume. Moves really well, super entertaining for the kids, super entertaining for George.
What do you mean costume?
Yeah, George. I'm sorry, George. It was a real polar bear.
You ruined it for George. He thought it was just a little bear.
Man.
But the bear is very detailed. It's the real Coca-Cola bear, really.
Nice cover up, Mike. Good job. There you go. Me and him, you know what? Me and the bear are like that. We are tight.
Well, you guys were born about the same time because the first appearance of the bear happened in a French printed advertisement back in 1922.
Interesting.
How old were you then, George?
I was 31.
Wow.
Yes. Somehow I'm getting older or younger as we're going through.
The time just doesn't work the same for you, does it?
I think he's a time traveler or something.
Just remember, I am on George time. It's the only time that matters is George time.
Yeah. Now, towards the end of your guided, you can do a guided tour or self-guided tour, but at the end of it is a tasting room. That's probably the best part. Like you can drink 60 different brands from around the world.
Yeah. All the different brands from around the world. And since we do have listeners in Italy, you have got to answer a question for me that I really want to know. There is a drink called Beverly, which we are told is like one of the number one drinks there in Italy. And I really want to know, is that the truth? Is Beverly popular in Italy? Because I will say it is a very acquired taste. It is, I don't know how to describe it.
I don't know how to describe it. It's bitter.
Yeah, it's very bitter. Yeah.
And they have this new flavor that I think it's George's favorite one. Different part of the country. I think it's China, maybe. I can't remember what part of the world it was from, but what it tastes like, what it tastes there. Like George, jeez, I can't even talk today.
What's it taste like, Mike?
What's it taste like? It tastes like barbecue sauce. A soda that you first drink it tastes like soda, then the aftertaste has a big hint of what seems like barbecue sauce.
Oh, it's not a hint of barbecue sauce. It is
it's strong. It's intense.
It's like a full bottle of barbecue sauce.
Yes.
Yeah, but if I ate that with some like pulled pork or something, that'd probably be a good drink to go with that, right?
It might be.
Absolutely.
I'll have to try that. But there's some unique brands as well. Tab is still offered there. And
oh man, Tab was like my favorite diet drink.
Yeah, that's Coke's first diet drink.
Yeah. I will say it was probably my first and my favorite diet drink. Well, I can't say that because now I'm a really big Coke Zero Cherry fan. But yeah, Tab used to be my diet drink that I always liked.
Fun fact about Tab, and it just means that great things were brought out in 1963, because that is my actual birthday in 1963. And that's when Tab came out. So two great
So all great things came out. Yeah. All great things came out in 1963.
Yes. Thank you for acknowledging that, Damon, because I would think you would be the last one to call me great.
Well, it'll be the last time I call you great.
Well, if I remember right, your birthday's coming up too.
Yes, my birthday is coming up, but
so happy birthday.
It's not. Forget it.
We can do the math now. So you already gave that away. So I got to stock up at more candles, I guess.
No, if you do, it will be a fire hazard if you light them all at one time. So
I'll bring a fire extinguisher with me. Awesome. Okay, then after the tasting room is George's favorite Coca-Cola store. And a lot of great items there. Even just browsing through some of the items is really, really neat.
Yeah, I just signed my paycheck over to them when I walk in because they're going to get it anyway. So.
And like I think it was Damon mentioned earlier, you do get, like Damon mentioned earlier, you do get a discount with your company badge.
Yes.
So absolutely make sure you bring your company badge or ID with you when you come to the World of Coke, or if you even go on over to the Coke stores there at Disney World or Las Vegas.
They might be able to work with you. I think when I was in Las Vegas, I did not have my company badge, but I did have a business card, and the manager did help me out. So that might work for you. Does that work for you, George? It might work for you. But yeah, carry your company badge.
I actually talked to the manager at the Disney store, and I gave them my employee ID, and they were able to look that up on the computer, and then they gave me my discount.
Very cool. Awesome.
They looked up your company ID, they would double the price. Wait a minute, this is Damon Bennett? Yeah, it's twice as much for you.
Yeah. But that's just a few of the items there at the World of Coke. So we encourage you to go. It's, like I said, it always touches my heart when I'm there. Makes me very proud of our company and our heritage.
Yeah. And it's, going back to the store a little bit, I have such
the store is George's favorite part,
yes.
by the way.
Oh yeah.
I have such pride in this company and what they do. I mean, we have done so much for charities and everything, but it's so funny because the other day I went somewhere that I normally go to and I was not wearing Coke stuff, which is very, very rare. And they brought it. It must have had a dozen people brought it to my attention. I didn't even recognize you because you did not have any Coke stuff on, because it's addicting, right? It's one of those things. And my poor daughter, she had to go through school, and everything she had when she was going through school was Coke branded. And so popular kid though. So
yeah, I think we're all building our own little museums at home with all of our collectibles from Coca-Cola.
yes. Go ahead, say it, Damon, and antiques. Go ahead.
And antiques, like George.
Thank you, Damon.
He might be the oldest thing in the room.
He might be, yeah. When they say, what's the oldest thing in the room? You go, George Luis.
And just think, I asked for that. I just asked for that. I set you guys up to tear me down. With friends like you guys, who needs enemies is all I got to say.
And one thing about the World of Coke that I was going to bring on up when I was doing some research on this, and that is, George, if you just can't get enough of shopping at the World of Coke or one of the Coke stores, there is also the Coca-Cola store online. So you can go ahead and do your shopping online as well, which is just www.coca-colastore.com.
Yes. Here's a surprise for you. I've done that before. I've shopped at the online store. Very cool.
I saw a shirt and I needed that shirt, and I wasn't waiting for my next trip to Atlanta, so I will just go online.
Yes.
There you go.
Available at coca-colastore.com. There you go.
All right, but definitely don't miss out on going to the World of Coke. Tons of information about Coca-Cola and just such a rich history, and to get to know all about the company that you work for, I think is just absolutely fantastic. But also check out the Las Vegas and the Orlando Coke stores while you're in those locations. And it is fun to go and visit and shop through those. It's not just, shopping, but there's a lot of historical memorabilia in those as well. Pictures, things like that you're going to be able to see. And like George, you can always walk out with your entire wardrobe right there at Coca-Cola store.
Bring an extra suitcase. That's all I can tell you.
Well, thanks guys for the overview, real high level overview of the world of Coca-Cola.
If you have a chance, go check it out. Learn the history of Coca-Cola. It's got a great history from wartime to any time, honestly.
And we're continuing that history. We just released a new beverage. It's Coca-Cola Spiced. So try that. That just came out this week.
Yes, that's exciting.
Yeah, to stay in touch with all of the Beverage Break podcasts that are coming on out, just make sure that you click and follow us. And then that way, you'll be getting an email every time we've got a new release. We also have a survey. If you go ahead and click on the survey, you can go ahead and give us some feedback and let us know what you think of the podcast and maybe what you would like to hear in future podcasts. Now, one thing I will say, and that is that we are putting these podcasts out on our LMS, our learning management site on Bridge. So if you are listening to our podcast there and you're just streaming it off of Bridge, you're not going to see the extras that we talk about, like the survey link or all of the different attachments and videos that we add to this. So if you want to see all that other information, you've got to go to the Beverage Break site, which is as simple as going to beveragебreak.com.
Yes, and like always, we do attachments on these if you're on our beveragебreak.com site. And I'm going to attach a video link for the World of Coca-Cola, so you can see visually some of the exhibits and experiences you may have at the World of Coke.
And we'll throw some additional pictures on the Beverage Break Facebook page. And you can follow us on Instagram at SIP_training on Instagram.
Alrighty. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day, everybody.
Yep. Until next episode.
Peace out.